Good evening, everybody. My name is Robin Craig, and you're watching Robin Craig Live. I'm so excited that you're here because one of my favorite people in the world is going to be my guest. A lot of you people watching already know her, Carol Scibelli. She'll be speaking to us from New York, and we're going to be talking about her book, Poor Widow Me. I read the book, it's really great, and I'm going to be giving away not one but 2 copies on the show, and you can also win some Benitos, so stick around for all the excitement. But first, it's time for the Critter Update. Now, you guys who watch the show all the time remember that it was just 2 weeks ago I said that I was awake from 3 to 4:30 in the morning with some huge creature running laps in my attic. I thought, he's got to get tired in a minute. And I tried everything. I barked. I did my Comanche yell. I got my big 6-foot bamboo sticks and I banged on the ceiling. I even sang a lullaby. I thought maybe I can just make him go to sleep. But I was like miserable. So then last week I reported that my neighbor Dee, she's a lovely, lovely 80-year-old widow, and she's feisty and she's got more energy than 15 of us. I love her to death. And she sent me a note on Facebook and shared with me that she had caught a raccoon. And I thought, you know, the noise that I heard, it was big and it was fast. I bet you I had a raccoon up there, but now the problem is over because Dee caught it. Well, today I get in my car and I'm driving and I'm thinking, you know, I just got my car washed. Why is it that I can't see through the windshield? And as I zeroed in on it, there were little footprints, not on the passenger side, which wouldn't have bothered me, but right in my eye line as I was driving, and the little feet came all the way down the windshield, and I couldn't tell if they were possum prints or if they were cat prints. So I thought, okay, well, there's something still roaming in my yard. Well, minutes before the show came on, I had activity in my attic, and I've been, you know, I log on to the show 25 or 30 minutes early every week so that we can catch up with everybody in the chat room. And while I've been talking, I've been hearing this creature in the attic. It's been driving me crazy. So I think after the show, I'm going to go make a big bowl of chicken Alfredo because I think they're going to really like that. And then I'll let you know next week if I catch it. But I keep thinking, you know, I mentioned it last week, that we may need to call Ellen DeGeneres and tell her that as talented as I am with catching them, it's like enough of this. If Ellen could come and help me possum-proof my house, it would be great. It's obviously a job for Ellen because all the guys that have come over to patch up the holes, just not cutting it. So stay tuned and we're going to see what happens with that. Now, I also want to do a special shout out to the people in and around Birmingham, Alabama. I have a friend who lives in Alabama, and I was devastated to hear about all of the tornadoes. It's like they're having tornadoes again there. So there's a lot of destruction. So everybody, please keep them in your prayers. And if you're able to donate, whether it's money or clothing or anything that you can do to help out the good folks in Alabama, now would be a really great time to do it. Now, in case I forget at the end of the show, I want to mention that next week's guest is Natalie Ramirez, and a lot of you guys know her as well. She is the founder of Wise Widowed Parents, a wonderful nonprofit that helps single widowed parents who have children, and she's got 2 cute kids. So on that note, we're going to give away the Benitos, so just stick around for that. But let's get Carol on the phone because I know she has got something to say. Hello, Carol. Are you there?
Am I here? Of course I'm here.
Good.
I've been listening to you talk about the critters, and everyone in the chat room wants to hear you bark. Did you see that?
I mean, literally, I am ridiculous about that. It is so unbelievable because here's the thing. I want to really do as much as I can to make these guys think like a herd of dogs, like a gigantic herd or a pack of dogs is coming. So I bark high, I bark low, I walk around and bark from different areas, so they just think this whole area is loaded with dogs and they're going to come running. So I may do that for you one of these days because you'll laugh. I am a reality show. And then literally the bamboo sticks, they're like this big around. Thank God I bought them. I thought they were a decorative item, but they're not. I use them to chase away the critters. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's so unbelievable. But anyway, everything's going to be okay. Just remember to call Ellen DeGeneres and tell her that I need her help because this is a bigger problem than what I can
Right. Ellen can solve everything. You don't have to worry.
Okay, I give her a call and tell her I've got a job for her. I've been trying to take pictures because I found a new entry point and I saw these big paw prints that were in a particular area. It's like they're making like a big muddy mess. They get in the dirt and then they climb up these support beams and then they find ways to push themselves into these tiny little cracks. It's so ridiculous. But tonight, chicken Alfredo. That's what I'm going to try. So Carol,
You're a little upset. You're a little upset there, you know? Little bit upset. In New York, we don't have any critters. We have subway. We have weirdos in the subway. That's our critters.
well, you know, I know it sounds like I'm obsessed with them. It's just my reality, and they're very annoying. Now, I wouldn't mind if they just went up there and went to sleep. But when they keep me up in the night, and they're running laps at a big 360, it's like, okay, enough of this, guys. It's ridiculous. So, of course, you know, I'm prepared now because I've got my Critter Girl shirt that Nyla and Julia had made for me. And the last time I caught a possum, I took pictures in the Critter Girl shirt, and I am going to do that again. So stick around. I may have another catch to tell you about next week. So, Carol, honey, I want to hold up your book. You've written a book called Poor Widow Me. And it is such an interesting book because you wouldn't think that humor would really go hand in hand with grief. Of course, people tell me the same thing about my show. They go, you're funny on there. And I'm thinking, well, we didn't lose our sense of humor. We simply lost our spouses. So I get really excited and, you know, I just love it when you can mix humor, and you shared so many stories. It was really touching. You had a lot of sensitive moments. But your humor was so subtle in some ways, but it literally made me laugh out loud. And I just wondered what prompted you, first of all, to write your book?
Well, I've always been a writer. I've been a comedy writer all my life, and I'm just kind of wired to be funny. And I think a lot of people, probably people in the chat room, they write down their feelings, they journal. It helps you. And I just started blogging. Blogging was the big thing then.
Okay.
And it just kind of morphed into a book.
Okay, that's interesting. So did you pull excerpts from your blogs to create your book?
Well, I worked with an editor, and together we put together 84 moments. I call them moments because I think that's really how we remember our lives. So I took kind of the best of and the things that were the most accessible to other people, things that other widows could relate to.
Okay.
And
Okay.
put it all together, and there it is.
Okay, well, I enjoyed it. Now, you were married to your sweet Jimmy for 33 years, and he died at age 56. I read that he died from Burkitt's lymphoma, and he died within a month. It didn't sound like, from reading the book, that you really thought that he would die. Is that true?
I know people have said that, and I guess that comes through. I'm not sure how much I actually say that, but it was, I was shocked. I never, ever expected that. I mean, he seemed fine, didn't feel right. It sounds ridiculous to say. It sounds like I'm so naive, but at that age, with no previous illness, and you go along, and it seemed like just a matter of, and it was a matter of a month, and he was gone. I really, for months and months following this, I kind of went around going, how could this happen? How could this happen? It was just unbelievable to me.
Yes.
Is that unusual, Robin? Are you trying to analyze me again?
No, because
wrong with me that I didn't get it?
it sounds like from your book you've been heavily analyzed by Mean Jean, your therapist.
Yeah, Mean Jean. She's my one-on-one therapist. I tried bereavement groups. They kicked me out 2 times. 2 bereavement groups. Get out, they said. We don't want kind here. So I went to a one-on-one bereavement group, me, Jean, exactly. Yeah,
Well,
they
it's,
read about her in the book.
you know, I mean,
Me.
it's normal. Like for me, you already know that my husband just fell out at age 43 and there was no warning whatsoever. And yeah, I walked around for quite a long time. It took me 4 months to get his autopsy because he died on the heels of Hurricane Katrina, which really upset the people in New Orleans specifically. And so many bodies had been brought to Houston for autopsies. I couldn't even find out what happened to my husband until about 4 months. So yeah, I'm walking around going, what the heck happened here? He was just flexing his biceps. And I'm like, man, honey, you look great. You're hitting the gym. And so it is very normal. And it's part of the shock, you know, because even when somebody's terminal, you still are in shock when they finally die because you still can't fathom what it's like when they take those final breaths. And you painted an interesting picture of Jimmy. He sounded like quite a character.
You know, it's funny that you say that. I guess it came through. He was a character. He used to have little slogan things about. He used to say that I should stop talking because if I keep talking, I'll use up all my words. God only gives us so many words. That was the theory of his. God only gives us so many words, and if you outlive your words, then you'll spend the rest of your life mute. But I think that was his little gentle way of saying, just stop talking.
That is so amazing. I'm looking at the chat room. I'm excited. We've got Sherry, Frida, Jennifer, Julia, Melanie, Nyla, Shannon, Terry, and of course, Carol, you're in the chat room. It's absolutely wonderful because tonight we're really going to have some fun as we talk about your book and all of the hilarious things. Now, you talk about your mother-in-law, Fanny. What role did she play in your healing or in your grief?
Well, my mother-in-law Fanny is quite a character. She's still alive. She's 94. She'll be 94 in a few weeks. And what role did she play? Well, my own mother was a little bit out of the picture for most of my life, so she was a big part of my life. But as far as losing her son, she was really stepped up to the plate and was very kind and good to me. I have to say, and my children.
Yes.
She was wonderful as a if I was well, let me just put it this way, if I was 90 years old and I lost my son, I would just probably never come out of my room. I mean, why would I do that?
Yeah.
But she was wonderful. She was very supportive.
That's so great. I love, 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 love hearing that. I know Nyla is saying that she would give anything to have John's, that's her deceased husband, his mom, or her mom now. I wish that I had my mom now. I'm still blessed to have my mother-in-law, but I wish that I had my own mom. Sherry says that she lost both of her parents. And yeah, it's just like you want to have people who love the person that you lost, that you loved as well, and to be able to reminisce and to help you remember all the great stories. And but I love that you talked so much about her, and I love that you all had Christmas dinner with her and just kept that continuity. That was really quite beautiful. One thing I noticed, Carol, in the book you talk about that after Jimmy died, your friends were taking more vacations, they were eating more ice cream, they were getting medical checkups. Like, what was happening with all of that?
Well, I think everybody appreciated that life a little bit. They realized that life is fragile, and anything could happen at any time. And the people that never went into their pocket to spend any money, they were taking me to a Broadway show. They were being really nice to me. You know how it is. You got that 1 year.
Yes.
That 1 year where everyone is wonderful. You can call up at any time and say, "Come over and do my laundry," and there they are. And usually we don't appreciate that until the year's up, and then you got to do your own laundry. But I think people were feeling very fragile.
Yes.
Kind of like certainly here in New York after 9/11.
Yes.
And why not have that ice cream? Why not have that extra, do that extra thing?
Yes.
People feel very fragile.
Yes, we all seem to get a sense of how brief life is and that we're all not going to be 110 and die in our sleep, the picture of health. And it does have a tendency to make you want to live life to the fullest every day. And Lord knows that includes eating ice cream and taking vacations and doing all the fun stuff and not waiting until you quote unquote retire, because your husband, my husband, they never got to live old enough to retire. That's like...
I'm very aware that the years now, and I'm very conscious that I only have another good 15 years of thinking where I can do things and go places and still have my brain a little bit.
Yes.
And I don't know that I would have felt that way, and that's one of the things, and I don't know that it's a negative, one of the things that happens when you lose someone, a spouse certainly, or anyone very close.
Well, you know, Carol, you know, we've had this lovely friendship. You know, I love you to pieces, and you have such great energy, and you have such determination. I somehow think even when you don't get all of your capacities, you're going to be like riding your scooter. You're going to be giving them hell out there in the world. I really do feel that. I can see that now. As a matter of fact, have any of you guys seen Betty White's new show? Betty White just turned 90, and of course she's a widow of many years, and she has this wonderful show that is similar to Candid Camera, only it's older people who are sort of punking the younger people. Have you guys seen it? Have you seen it?
I've seen part of it. I've seen commercials for it. She's terrific. Now, you could be a 9-year-old like Betty White, but maybe that's because I just saw a promo for also Joan Rivers. I think if you're constantly active and constantly throwing out those zingers, it keeps you going.
Yes.
You're not going to slow down in the same way.
That's right, and I have said for many years, oh, I hope that God lets me live to be really old because I'm going to give them hell out there. I already feel it coming because people have a soft spot for old folks. You can get away with so much, and I want to live long enough to be able to really get away with all the crazy stuff that I do that I get in trouble for now.
That's right, they'll probably still be trying to get those critters, and you'll really seem like a crazy old lady trying to bark at these critters, right?
I'll be standing out there hitting them with my walking cane or trapping them under my walker.
Right.
Well, I want to acknowledge Doug. Doug, I am delighted that you're here tonight with us and you're joining the chat room. I see that you're already making friends with everybody, and Doug is a widower of 5 years, and I'm excited because Terry is a widower. I'm glad that more widowers are joining all the fun here on Robin Craig Live, and if you did just tune in, I'm talking to Carol Scibelli, the widow of this wonderfully adorable book called Poor Widow Me, and we're going to give away not one, but 2 copies during the show, so stick around for that. We'll be doing that just a little bit later, but right now we're just conversing and we're just talking about the book, and Carol, you crack me up. Gary is your daughter Jackie's husband, right? Is Gary, who you speak about so much, is that your daughter Jackie's husband, your son-in-law?
Oh no, my son-in-law, I would say my son-in-law is dead. You can't almost say I know where he's dead today. No, that's terrible. Where are these things coming out of my mouth? No, my son-in-law, my daughter's divorced actually.
So who is Gary?
Terry.
Gary. I thought you talked about Gary. That Gary.
Oh, Gary.
Yeah.
Gary. No. No. I can make something up though if you'd like. But no, there's no Gary. My daughter actually, which is kind of interesting. She got divorced shortly after my husband died. I think because, well, I don't know why. But part of it was that she heard so many people, she heard so many people at my husband's funeral say so many really, really wonderful things about him that she looked at her husband. She said, I'd like to respect my husband more and have people talk about him more in that way when he dies. I said, I'll be happy to.
Well, the one thing that cracked me up out of everything is how you said that Gary asked you if you ever felt Jimmy's presence in your home where you guys lived together for so many years, and that you were thinking that if your husband Jimmy were going to appear, that he would appear when you were naked.
I was naked, yes. He was, well, my husband was Italian, so, that says it all, doesn't it?
I'm telling you, great food, hot sex, right?
Great food, hot sex, you got it.
I'm not going to... I know, it's so beautiful. Well, here's my question for you. When you were naked, did your husband ever appear?
Well, I did feel a little something once, and there was a shadow. It's funny, I can tell you about Fanny. Fanny was a widow for about 20 years, 25 years. At the 10-year mark, she actually told me that she felt in the middle of the night her husband, my ex-father-in-law, came back, and she actually I said, that man is never coming back. He's dead and you're turning him away.
Oh my gosh, that is just so funny. Your perception of things I thought was quite interesting. You mentioned that if your husband had been the widower and you had died first, that women would be bringing him casseroles and cleavage. And you're probably right, because you have a picture of him in the front of the book and he's clearly a cutie pie. But my question for you is, Carol, what did the guys bring you after your husband died?
Well, definitely not cleavage. They definitely didn't bring me cleavage, that's for sure. I was as outgoing as I am, but it took me a good 2.5 years to begin to date. So they weren't bringing me much of anything. But I do think that women, I think was it 9 to 1? I think you have to go down to Florida to get better odds for men to women.
Yes.
But he would have been a great catch because he was adorable and fun, had some shekels, the whole bit. He had the whole package.
And you guys were married for 33 years. That's like such an amazing length of time. And I think all of us have shared that losing a spouse is like losing half of your body, because you work so well together as a team, and some things you're good at, some things he's good at, and when you put it all together, you really make one whole person. So when that person is just ripped out from under you, it's like, well, now what do I do? And it sounded like...
Well, Robin, actually, I'm not good at anything, so I have to learn everything. I didn't hold up my half too well. So
well,
I had to do the whole by myself. He did everything.
Well, you're pretty and you're fun, and obviously that's all you had to be for him, even though I know you're smart, and we all know you're a great writer now. You have many hidden talents. You're being way too modest, but just looking good and being entertaining, that's really huge to offer to a man for 33 years. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it's so amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing, though, that when I tell people how long we were married, it would have been this August, it would have been 40 years. It just is amazing that to spend a lifetime with someone, and still we used to figure out that because we got married at 22, we could have really married for 70 years. Really.
Wow.
I mean, it could have been that way, and I always kind of expected that.
And and it was interesting too, because all of us who lost our spouses early on, I was married 21 years, it was just, in my opinion, really getting great, because we had figured out so much and we had crossed so many milestones, and things were just getting really great. And then it's like, boom, now what happens as you're getting older and you were ready to get your 2 rocking chairs and your knitting needles and just hang out on the front porch, and now you're starting over. And of course I'm looking at the chat room too, and I see that Doug was saying that his wife was quick to point out that they were in a partnership and that he also misses being part of a team. That's what everybody is saying in the chat room right now. And also, I'm thrilled to see Ellen and Donita. People keep joining us. And Casey, Cheryl, I'm glad that you're back, honey. It's really great that all you guys are here. We've got Shannon back tonight too, which I'm happy. She wrote an amazing blog, which they're talking about now in the chat room. I'm so excited. And Ellen, I'm waving at you too, honey. It's so great. We're having a great fun event. And Melanie, I'm always thrilled that Melanie's been joining us for several weeks in a row now. Thank you so much for being here. It's wonderful, and your input is absolutely fabulous. Julia is confirming that she hates being just one on her team, and all of us do. And Carol, you talked about that, about how your husband felt that you were very sexy, that he remembered you as you were when you were that beautiful hot body in your bikini, as you talked about. But now, when you have to start over at this juncture, and you're in your 50s or wherever you are, then it's like people don't look at you the same way. They don't have that hot, 20-year-old body like your husband did. What do you say about that?
It's hard. It really is hard, because that's exactly it. I feel when Jimmy looked at me, when you grow older together, you remember, you don't look at each other in the same way. You kind of remember how you looked. I always said I used to turn stomachs. Now I turn stomachs when I wear a bathing suit. I used to turn heads.
And that's not true. That's not true at all, but that's funny.
Having that history, they see you as you are today. It's you know, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yes, and the other thing that I thought was really interesting that gives us all some food for thought is how you talked about walking your little dog, Tony Baloney, such a cute dog and such a cute name, and you see the elderly couple feeding the ducks. And you felt compelled to walk over and share with them that you kind of got ripped off and that your husband died, and here you are, you know, still a young woman and you're on your own. And the lady said they had just gotten married 3 weeks ago. How funny is that?
I know it's funny and sad at the same time. She looked at me so pathetically. She looked at me so pathetically. Here I was feeling envious of their long relationship because they were in their 80s easily, and I thought they were together for 50, 60 years. And it's funny they use the term ripped off, but I guess that's how I felt. And there they were, very new. But in another way, that they gave you kind of hope that, wow, look at that, they found each other at that late stage.
Yes. Yes, I know it, and we all hope that we can grow old. I told my husband, he died 11 days after our 21st anniversary, and I gave him a card, and I said, it is so wonderful having a history with someone, and for someone to see how hard you've worked and how far you've come. And then all of a sudden they're gone, and all of that's washed away, and just like you mentioned in your book, there are things that you want to ask that you know your spouse would have the answers to, and there's nobody to ask anymore. You're just sitting there thinking, I don't know the answer, and it's over with. That's hard.
It's very hard. That's a big point, Robin. Yeah, it's true. I was just talking to someone about that last night. When something happens and there's no one to front five with, there's no shared memory. I think you start making up stuff, I think.
Yes.
Because there's no one to say you're right. Or which restaurant did we ever go there? Or anything. There's no gossip between you. There's nothing, no memory.
Yeah. And I am famous for having a conversation with someone and just saying, you know, I can't remember what year that happened, or I can't remember this or that, and I think, God, Danny would know the answers to all of it, and of course, you know, I don't have him to ask. So that's kind of a lonely place. There's Indigo Sherry. I always tell her when she decides to join the show to turn her best foot forward. Hey, girl, you see Carol on the phone? Huh?
Is that a critter or is that your cat?
I know. You know what? She's going to sit right here. That's perfect for her. Well, now she's going to get in my lap. Actually, she looks like a critter. I'm trying to get her to help me catch him, but I'm not having any luck with that, you know? But she is my little co-host. This is Indigo Sherry, and she's a great, great, great little friend. And sometimes I use her as a monitor because I've had so many critters. I sometimes wonder if I'm like freaking out. But when I hear something, I look at her, and if I see her looking up, I think, okay, we have a critter. So she's got the prettiest eyes, but when I hold her up, she doesn't want anybody to see them. And we match. We're like all black tonight, whatever. So, but yeah, I'm loving the people in the chat room and the different things that they're talking about. And I saw earlier when we were talking about just living your life, which is something that death helps us to realize, that Julia said she wanted to wear red hats and purple hats, and I'm thinking, you know what, we don't have to wait. Get those hats out, Julia. Start wearing them. You know, live your life. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know how long we may have, and the one thing that we know is that we just have to give life our all, and we have to laugh along the way. It's really just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So Carol, I wanted to ask you, do you think it's harder for a man to lose his wife or a woman to lose her husband, or do you think that they are the same?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, just as a woman, I think it's harder for a man, actually, because women have their women friends, and men don't have that. I used to say that to most men, their wife is their best friend because they're too lazy to get up and catch you and make new friends. So they don't have that circle. They don't have that support group, I think.
Yes.
They say that men remarry after 2 years on average, and women after 5 years. So I think they need that partnership. They need someone, as I said before, to do their laundry. It could be that.
Well, I'm looking, and Melanie says that she thinks it would be easier for a man to learn how to cook versus a woman learning how to repair a car. So that's an interesting perceptive as well, because we all have to learn to do what our spouses did. Sometimes we can pay for people to do things, and other times we can't, you know. So I often wonder about that. It may be equally hard because we're all having to learn things that are foreign to us any which way you look at it. But I love it because Ellen is saying that she took a car mechanic course. Honey, that's like a big thumbs up there, because when her husband died, so did her mechanic. I love that you took a course in that. That is super impressive. I love, love, love that. Okay, so Carol, this was another thing that really hit me in your book. It sounds like you spent a lot of time sitting on the floor of your closet where you're looking at all of your husband's clothing in an effort to feel close to him. How many hours did you spend in the closet?
Oh God, it's embarrassing to say. I would sit. Well, first of all, I have a bad sense of direction, so it was hard for me to find the cemetery. I figured I'd go to the closet. It was easy to find. I didn't have to stop off and pick up flowers on the way. So there I was in the closet. I would babble. Out of the closet, in the closet. I would talk to his pants. I felt closer to him. And hours? How many hours? Oh my God, it was a lot of hours. Embarrassing. Too many hours to really say. But I think that first year or so, I think it's true of just about everyone I've ever spoken to that have lost their spouse. If I wasn't talking to him out loud, I was talking to him in my head.
Wow.
As I did something. What do you think about that? Blah, blah, blah. And continually. Continually.
Do you still get in the closet, or did you stop? And if you did stop, how long did you do it before you stopped?
Wow, that's interesting. It's well, I have a nice sized closet, so I didn't really have to get rid of his clothes. I used to say I'm not that sentimental. I just have enough closet space. Well, there came a point. I think it was about close to 2 years, probably close to 2 years.
Okay.
And what I did was interesting. I mentioned that in the book too. I had 2 memory quilts made, one for each of my kids. So it was easier to get rid of his clothes because, and I saved a few things, of course, because I knew that they would be preserved in a quilt. I had somebody make like a patchwork quilt, so you'd see his shirt, his pants, and I go to my daughter's house and it's over her couch. I go to my son's house and it's over his bed, and I know that I remember him from what he wore. He didn't have an extensive wardrobe, Robin, so it was very reminiscent to me.
That is just so cute. I love the memory quilts, and I don't remember who it was, but we were talking about this on a prior show, and one of the widows said that she had had her sister just come in and take all of her husband's clothing because she couldn't deal with it, but she didn't know about the memory quilts. So later, when she found out about it, she mentioned it to her sister and said, you know, that's a bummer that you got rid of my husband's stuff, even though I asked you to. And the sister had saved the husband's clothing, and now she can still make the quilt. Isn't that great?
It's wonderful. Wow.
I thought that
Great.
sister had so much insight. I was really, really impressed with that. And of course, I didn't know about that either. I did need the space, and I had a nephew who could wear most of my husband's clothing, which made it easier for me to give up. But that's a hard thing to do. Do you still have Jimmy's, even though you have the big closet, do you still have Jimmy's stuff in there, or did you ever get rid of it?
Yeah. I have a few things. I actually, you know what I saved, and I know why too. I saved his tuxedo because to me it represented fun. When we were dressed up and going out and going someplace fancy schmancy, we always had a good time dancing. That's one of the things he said to me. I wish we had danced more, which was.
I know, I was touched by that. I have to tell you, Carol, I'm looking at the chat room again. Sherry says she still wears her husband's robe every night. Terry says his wife's robe still hangs on the bathroom door. Julia says that she has her husband's ties. And you know what? I am a widow of 6 years, and my husband's bathrobe still hangs on the back of the bathroom door as well. And it's funny because I don't really go in that bathroom that much, And I didn't really notice it for a while, and then when I did, it was kind of heartwarming to see, and I haven't had a reason to make it go away. So 6 years later, the bathrobe is still on the door, the little hanger thing on the back of the door. It's really kind of a neat thing. I love that. Melanie says her husband's robe is on the bathroom door too. That is so amazing. She's a widow of 16 months. I didn't know you were that recent, Melanie. But yeah, there's something about leaving the robe on the door that's comforting in some strange way. Doug is saying that much of his wife's clothes and belongings went to the home of her mom and stepfather. So sometimes you have family members that can use it. Oh my gosh, there's Brandy. Hi, Brandy. I am thrilled. Everybody is back tonight. It's a beautiful thing. And if you just tuned in, you know you're watching Robin Craig Live, and I'm speaking with my good buddy, Carol Scibelli, author of Poor Widow Me. Carol, let's give away a book now. You want to?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, we're going to have everybody pick a number between 1 and 40, and I'm going to hold this little number. I've got this number written here, so you don't have to worry about me cheating. Hope it's not bleeding through on the other side. But everybody in the chat room who would like to win Carol's book, pick a number between 1 and 40, and the person who is closest to the number that I have here is going to win a copy of the book. Okay. All right, has everybody got a number? Okay, all right, we're zeroing in. Has everybody got a number? I'm getting ready to flip it over here. Okay, it looks like, is that it for everybody? Okay, I think that's everybody now. Okay, it looks like the winner is... Let me make sure I'm not misquoting. It looks like Melanie, because it's number 11. Congratulations, Mel. You just won a copy of Carol's fabulous book, Poor Widow Me. Isn't that great? It's so exciting. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give you...
Did I agree to this?
You agreed to it, but I think you were drinking that night on the phone.
I could have been. Every night, so apparently I was.
If I call you...
You can have the book. Sure.
Okay, good. And Melanie, I want to make sure that I do a personal message and I get your address before the show ends, so stick around in the chat room afterwards. And don't cry if you didn't win. It's okay, because guess what? We're going to give away another one before the show is over. Now, let's also take a moment to address Beanitos. Everybody knows these are my favorite chips, and I give them away on the show all the time. They're wonderful. This is my favorite black bean chips made out of black beans, and the chipotle barbecue flavor is so good. I love them. I love them. And they are corn-free, gluten-free, high fiber, 4 grams of protein. They are low glycemic, and you will love them. So what I'm going to get you guys to do is to go to my website, because I see we have a lot of viewers tonight, and I want everybody who is watching to have a chance to win. I'm going to do the book in the chat room, but I want everybody watching the show to have a chance to win these, and we're going to ship a case of them to your home. So if you are interested in winning the Bonitos, if you're in the chat room or if you're not in the chat room, go to my website, robincraigdirect.com, and just send me any kind of a note that uses the word Bonitos, and the 10th email I get is going to win a case of them, and they are great and you will love them. So make sure you go to robincraigdirect.com and just type a little note with the word Bonitos, and the 10th person, I will announce it on next week's show. Okay, so Carol, you made a joke a while ago about sitting in the closet because you couldn't find the cemetery. Do you ever go to the cemetery and visit?
You know, I haven't gone in, maybe 2 years, and I plan to. I always like to. My husband is in a mausoleum with a little bench there in the spring. It's kind of nice.
Okay.
You know, again, talking to him. It's a little unsettling, though, because there's a space right next to him for me. So where you see, it's like a terracotta, and it says his name, and then there's a space waiting to be like chiseled in with my name, and I feel like I'm almost going to be visiting myself. And in
Well, you can only imagine how I feel, because when I was in my stupor, when I was planning my husband's service, I somehow felt like that I wanted to be buried with him. And I had a funeral. We rented a casket. My sister said he's one of 50 grandkids. He looks beautiful. He really should be on display where his family can see him. And I agreed with that. But then I also knew that he was an advocate of cremation. So I combined them. And we had a service with a rented casket. It was fabulous. I had him surrounded by his artwork. It was very unstructured, or some would say unorthodox. And then I had him cremated and went back after the fact. And I made the decision that I wanted to do the same thing. Of course, you know how vain I am. I always say, if I look really great, do the same thing. If I look terrible, then forget the casket, just cremate me and just stick me in the ground. So I had to I had to pay extra money so that I could be buried in the same plot with my husband. So that meant whenever I ordered his grave marker, it has my name and my birthday and that little dash waiting for my death date to go on there. And talk about freaky. It's the weirdest thing to go out to a cemetery and to look down and to see your name on there, you know?
Yeah, it is. Yes, yes. It's got to be scary. Actually, where my husband is buried, there's no beloved anything. It's just his name. And he was 1950, and I was also born in 1950. So all they have to do is really, and then of course it's 2000. It's just that two little numbers that have to be filled in. It is. That's a scary thing. Scary thing.
It really is crazy. It's just hard to imagine. But on the other hand, in another sense, it's comforting to know where your final resting place is going to be. And it's also comforting to think that your family members won't have to have a big fight or an argument because they disagree. They already know what your final wishes are in that regard. And that's really beautiful, you know?
Yeah, they'll probably find something else to argue about, though. You can always count on that. There'll be some kind of argument.
Well, yeah, then they'll argue about what you're going to wear. I mean, there's always something. You're exactly right. But I see Nyla says Nyla knows where she's going to be buried, and she's got the headstone engraved for both of them. That's excellent. Sherry says her dad bought all of them plots, but she doesn't plan to use them. That's interesting. And Jennifer said that she had her husband's ashes put into cross lockets for all of his children. And that's beautiful. You know, that's a great thing to do. You know, there are just a lot of choices, and it's good if you can make the decisions in advance and figure out what you want, because there are so many options. You know, I'm famous for saying it's not like the cowboy shows where they used to dig a grave as close to the body as possible. They put the body in, they put rocks on top, they took 2 sticks and made a cross, stuck it in the ground, and walk away. But now it's a business, and there are a lot of neat options. And of course, you can have your ashes made into diamonds. There's just a lot of cool things. But you need to explore them beforehand, because once someone dies, you just don't have time to deal with that, and you're not in the mood to think a diamond. I mean, it doesn't make sense when you're in your most distraught moment. So,
I always want to do a video.
Of what?
You know, say, hello, if you're looking at this, I'm dead. And just talk to the people. And that would be like a little montage. Remember that time that you did that? Remember that time that, you know, now that we're more aware of death, before I never really thought of it, but this is the time to kind of recap for everyone.
Yes.
And,
I know. I kind of think that maybe we should make a video that is played at our funeral. And just says, I'm really glad that you guys are here. I'm looking down from above. I see who's here and I see who's not here. You know what I'm saying? And don't fight over my jewelry. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, that could be kind of a funny thing. I don't know anyone that's done that. Maybe I'll be the first, but I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, you would be great. You would be great. You could do your same little, like you do, and then there'd be a little chat room there under that, give you a little bit of a recap of what you're saying. You know, no one's really listening to Press Robin. They're all talking amongst themselves.
Well,
they don't care that we're having a conversation.
Well, actually, they are listening, but they're making such wonderful friends, and that's what's so great about this show, is that you have the opportunity to make friends and converse during the show. It's like we're having a big party across the nation. Oh, and I see Linda Guillory. Linda, I'm so happy you're here, honey. We've been missing you too. I know you've been super busy, but I'm thrilled that you are here. And you know, this is the kind of show you can jump in and out at any time. It's not like you have to be there from the very beginning or you lose out. out. As long as you come, we are thrilled to have you. And if you just tuned in, you probably have already seen all of my posting on Facebook and Twitter that I'm speaking to my little buddy, Carol Scibelli, and we are giving away another book. Carol, you want to take a moment and give away another book?
Absolutely.
And Lena.
Again, I'm giving it away. This book is so valuable. It's incredible, the generosity that I have here.
And Carol doesn't know it, but she is paying for shipping and handling. So you're not out of any money at all in order to win the book. So, okay, so here I am. I've got another number. I hope you're not seeing it bleed through. I've got another number. Everybody pick a number who wants to win a copy of the book between 1 and 40. Between 1 and 40. The numbers are coming in now. We're looking. Everybody pick a number between 1 and 40 to win a copy of this fabulous book, Poor Widow Me. There's my fabulous guest. That's how you spell her beautiful Italian name, Scibelli. Okay. All right. Carol, that's funny. I have Carol on the phone, as you guys know. She's also in the chat room, and she's trying to win a copy of her book. Carol, it won't work, but that's funny. I'm laughing so hard. That is so funny. Okay, has everybody got their numbers? Okay. Okay. All right. Now that's funny. Terry is saying, Carol, if the winner, whoever wins the book, he wants the book to be autographed. So are you going to autograph the book for the winner?
Right. Whose name should I autograph it with? My own name, or should I use Robin's name? Because she's such a better widow than I am. I think I'll put Robin. Robin Craig. It's an easier name. Easy to spell than Scibelli, too.
Well, I think it's hilarious that Terry is asking the question about can the book be autographed, because guess what? Terry just won the book. Terry, you got it right on the dot, 31. Isn't that great? I'm really tickled. So I have to make sure and get your address before you leave too. So both of you guys, Melanie and Terry, hang around in the chat room after the show so that I can get your address, because Carol is happily sending you the book, including the shipping and handling.
Yes, it is happily. Very happy. I'm so happy. I'm happy to give it away.
I know it, and it's so great, and you'll find humor in it, and it's sentimental. There's a lot of feeling. There's some wonderful humor, so I promise you that you will enjoy it. Nyla has bought the book in the past, and she has read it twice. It's easy to read, which is good. Sometimes books have such big words, you're like, oh, that was great, and then you're like, but what did they say, you know? But this book is very straightforward and a really fun read. So
Wait a minute, Robin. Exactly. What are you saying there? You're saying that I'm not using big words because I'm not intelligent enough to use big words?
No.
What are you trying to say?
No, I am saying that you could have written the book with words this long, but you chose not to, because you know people like me would be reading it, and you wanted to make sure I understood. Okay.
Good answer.
Was that good?
I bet.
Okay, thanks. My cat told me that. Thanks, Indigo Sherry. That was great. So, Carol, so I know our clock's ticking, but tell us a little bit about your dating experience, because dating after being married is a weird thing, and certainly when you've been married for 33 years, and you claimed in your book that you had not cheated. How was it when you ventured out and started dating again?
Well, first of all, the word claim sounds like you're not believing me. She claims she never cheated. I cheated in my heart, but I didn't cheat.
Well, you know, you've got that hot body and that great personality, so I know you've had men hitting on you during the entire 33 years.
Well, you know what they say. No one wants someone that no one else wants. I don't even know what that means, actually, but...
I like the way it sounded, though.
The dating thing was so strange. I have to say, I kept... I had a situation once where I brought someone to the house, and he brought the wine.
Okay.
I provided the cheese and crackers, but I couldn't find crackers, so I found cheese and crackers. Finally, I said, oh, look, here's a little box of crackers. We'll have those. And we're kind of getting cozy on the couch. Luckily, there was no memory clip there, because I thought, that would be kind of awkward if my husband's entire wardrobe was sitting next to us. And anyway, I'm thinking, all of a sudden, I realized
And how long had it been?
It had been about 2 years. And I silently said, my husband's picture was right up there on the mantle as I looked at him and I kind of said, I'm sorry. Because I said, then I felt he was watching. Once again, it's kind of a strange feeling.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, it
When
is.
do they watch, when do they not?
I know it because this brings up something that I think about all the time. When I'm doing something great, like when I'm catching a possum, when I am manually washing my car, my husband did it for 21 years. When I'm doing anything great like that, I look up to the heavens and I go, Danny, I hope you can see me. Look at me. I'm cleaning the pool. I'm doing all this. But then I start to think, when I have a date, is Danny still looking, or can I like tune him out and in as I desire?
Right. It's a scary thing. I think that too. When I take bills, I look up and I say, look at this. I can actually add. Look at this. I can actually figure out how much things cost. Look at this.
Yeah.
Overdrawn.
Because, well, you know, we're proud when we accomplish things, and we really want our loved ones to watch us and to see our growth and to see that we're taking care of business. But then on the other hand, if you're dating and you've got a guy over, or if you're a widower and you've got a gal over, then do you really want your spouse to see that too? Or is it just like selectiveness as to when we choose for people to watch and when they don't? Is it like all or nothing?
There was somebody, Robin, at one of the conferences that we were there. We were together, and she was talking about dating, and she said that she felt that her husband was looking down and saying, "Sex, now you're interested."
Oh my God. That is just,
You can't win, right?
that is so funny.
And it's hard to anticipate what our husbands would have wanted, what they wouldn't have wanted. I always say he would have wanted me to have that leather jacket, wouldn't he?
Yes, yes, yes. That is so great. Oh my God. That is so great. I know it's really an interesting concept whether deceased people can still see us or whether they've gone on to the next place and they don't even care what we're doing anymore. You know, I mean, who knows? So yeah, that's
Well,
like a
that's an
crazy.
interesting thing, Robin, because I always feel, my husband was a very responsible, family-oriented person, and you'd think that he kind of not earned his wings, it sounds kind of corny, but he earned the right to just go off and wherever that next step is, and after you go through life on earth, and to stay around and kind of hover and look, it seems like that's really what we might kind of want, but I don't know that that's how it works. Or
Yes.
should it be?
Yes, 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 yes. It's really just the craziest thing, and none of us really know. We don't understand death. We just know that it happens to us and that we have to deal with it. And it's just a hard place to be. But Carol, I'm so proud of you. You've come so far in your widowhood, and you're an inspiration to so many to show that yes, you can have fun and you can have a good time and you can work through your grief and then you can get back out into the real world and start dating again. And are you dating now, Carol?
I am, it's funny, I kind of, I'd like to meet somebody, but I haven't been dating. I'm working on turning Poor Widow Me into a play, and so I'm trying to find some people to collaborate with. It just feels right now, I'd like to meet someone at some point. I'd really like to be in love, Robin, and that's a tough thing.
Yeah.
It's tough to find someone that fills fills the bill.
Yes.
I love having my own time, to be honest with you.
Yes.
I kind of like that.
And you talked about.
I'd like both, but men, you can't go in and out like that.
I know it.
You're around.
And you talked about in your book having freedom, and I did a show once about talking about the good things that come out of widowhood. That's kind of an oxymoron, that you don't think about good things coming from losing your spouse, but freedom and the freedom to make all of your decisions, that is something that you wouldn't have asked to have happen, but if it did happen, that is a benefit. And then we're all in the position of saying, are we going to give that up? Are we going to go for that relationship again? And it's just a tough decision. So there's a lot to talk about. But Carol, honey, you know I love you so much. Our clock is ticking. I'm so excited. I'll get you the information on our 2 winners. And you are paying the shipping and handling, okay?
All right, okay, okay.
All right, well, stick around the chat room. Let's keep the dialogue going. I love you to pieces.
All right, you too. Love you too, Robin. Thank you for having me. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming by.
Okay, sugar, I'll talk to you shortly.
All right.
Love you. Bye-bye. Oh, my God, isn't she just the cutest, funniest, sweetest thing? I love her to pieces. Everybody knows that so much. I wanted to take a moment to share with you guys a poem that a widowed friend of mine, Sandy Borup, sent to me, and she found it on the web, but there was no author, and I wish there were because it was so beautifully written, and it's a wonderful thought that I want to leave everybody with. It doesn't even have a title, but it says, "Death is nothing at all. I have only slipped away to the next room. I am I, and you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way which you always used to. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effect, without the trace of a shadow on it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same that it ever was. There is absolute, unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner." Isn't that beautiful? You know, we talk about dying and where do you go and how much are you able to perceive of life as we know it. And we don't have the answers to all of that, but it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm really thrilled that you guys are here on the show, and I love that you guys are in the chat room. And thank you, Brandy, for thanking me for reading the poem, because it is so beautiful. I should try to post that so that everybody can copy it, because it's a beautiful thought to know that your loved one is just around the corner, just in another room. That's it. We're going to see them again. It's so beautiful. Well, guys, I love you all so much, and you already know that. I can't tell you how much I love you and how much I appreciate you being here, and especially the guys in the chat room, all the wonderful conversation. And I know not everybody is up to being in the chat room, and that's okay. You don't have to be. It's not required. You can watch however you want to. And I think everybody knows that all of my shows are archived. So if there's a show that you've watched and you think, oh my goodness, this would benefit someone I know, then you can just get the link for it. And if you have any questions on how to do that, I think most of you guys already are friends of mine on Facebook and Twitter. And if you're not, look me up. You'll recognize me. You know I'm holding Emmys in my profile picture. And just send me a friend request and let me know that you watch the show. And let's just keep the dialogue going. I love you to pieces. Join me every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. And if you're out on the West Coast, you know it's 7 p.m. Pacific time. Please invite your friends. So many people are hurting. I get so many messages from people, and they share with me all of the people they know who have passed away. So please share the show. As you know, my intent is to help people to feel better, to learn about grief, to feel that you're not alone. And like we did tonight, sometimes it's just to have fun. So don't forget, go to my website, robincraigdirect.com, mention the word Benitos, and the 10th email is going to win a case of my favorite guilt-free chips. Stick around in the chat room. Let's keep the dialogue going, and I want to make sure I get the address of the 2 winners of Carol's books tonight. You guys are special to me.